Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
Wind power isn't the only renewable energy source available to North Carolinians. Deputy Director Paul Quinlan of the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association recently stopped by our studios to talk with Mitchell Lewis about green power options in our state.
Mr. Paul Quinlan, welcome to North Carolina Now.
Thank you.
Now, you are the Deputy Director of the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association. Tell our viewers, what is the mission of this organization?
We work to promote a sustainable future, and we do that by advocating for renewable energy and energy efficiency, and we do that through three ways: public policy, education, and economic development.
Now, looking at your website, I found that you were involved in researching energy poverty in North Carolina. What does that mean?
Energy poverty looks at how much income and expense a low-income family might spend on energy needs. For example, there's research that has been done that shows that households in North Carolina that are at 50% of the poverty level, they spend over 50% of their annual income just on household energy needs. That doesn't even account for transportation. So as a result, these families will pursue different strategies to cope with the challenge. They may heat their home with their oven or live in just one room in the winter, and it really has a negative impact on their quality of life. So that's something that we look into in all the policies that we consider of how that impacts low-income households in the state of North Carolina.
And as far as energy efficiency is concerned, how does that rate as when you have people in that situation?
Energy efficiency is one of the best things that can be done for these households. Energy efficiency is a very cost-effective resource for low income or any sort of household or business in the state of North Carolina. So it certainly allows an opportunity to bring those bills down to a level that's probably more seen in a normal household, which could be 6 to 7% of annual expenses going towards energy expenditures.
Several months ago, your association released its 2010 North Carolina Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Industry Census. Now, when it comes to North Carolina, how has the state been impacted by revenues generated as well as creating jobs when it comes to sustainable energy?
So we look at companies in the state of North Carolina that are involved in all aspects of renewable energy and energy efficiency. We look at everyone from component manufacturers that may be making fiberglass that goes into wind turbines to installers or law firms or consulting firms that might be advising folks in this space. What we see is that these firms in North Carolina, they generate $3.5 billion in annual revenue from the activities related just to renewable energy and energy efficiency. In terms of employment, we found in 2010 that they employ 12,500 full-time equivalent employees in the state of North Carolina as it relates to these activities.
Was there any other fact in the report that caught you as odd or surprised you?
What most people don't realize is that this is an industry that is spread across North Carolina. One of the things we look at is the presence or locations of firms, and we have found renewable energy and energy efficiency activities in all 100 counties of North Carolina. And one of the biggest source of jobs is actually manufacturing. Over 30% of the jobs that we find are with firms that mostly do manufacturing as their primary activity, and that's something people don't often realize.
Wind energy is a topic of discussion a lot here in North Carolina, and I understand that in Perquimans and Pasquotank counties that there's a special wind energy project taking place. What is the significance of this project compared to perhaps other wind energy projects?
This project will most likely be the first utility scale project developed in the state of North Carolina. There has been 2 other projects that have been proposed in the past that have not received full state and local approval to proceed. But this project is being done by a company that is very well versed in the development of wind energy and probably has a good chance of success of proceeding to construction. So for North Carolina, it'll be the first, and for even the East Coast of the United States, this will be one of the largest utility scale wind projects on the eastern seaboard when it's complete.
When we talk about renewable energy, you hear a lot about wind energy. You also hear about solar energy. But are there any other types of renewable energies that we should be aware of?
Geothermal, there are a couple different resources. Geothermal is one that's been very active recently in North Carolina. It's not a renewable energy resource, but energy efficiency is also a great option for both our utilities and homeowners and businesses to explore. As I mentioned earlier, it's the least cost resource that we typically have, and typically you can find energy efficiency savings in just about any building. So that's something to certainly keep in mind. And when it's done right, you don't see it. So while renewable energy projects are often visible, energy efficiency sometimes happens behind the scenes, and you just never see that it's there.
When you look at sustainable energy, and you've mentioned about individuals as well as businesses, if they want to get more involved in sustainable energy, what are some of the things that they should know before getting involved?
Being aware of the public policy environment is very, very important. A lot of decisions in North Carolina are driven by the policy environment that we have. And the policy environment also impacts the financing of these projects, which is the other really important thing to be aware of. When the public policy and the financing, when those two pieces need to be in place for a project to become viable at this point in time. And those are the things to be considering and looking at if one is interested in pursuing these projects.
And of course, if our viewers want to find out more about sustainable energy, where can they go?
Our website is www.energync.org. And we produce or release a biweekly e-news that's available to anybody. And on our homepage on the left-hand side, you can sign up for that, and it'll keep you up to date on what's happening in the state of North Carolina.
I'll put you on the spot here just a little bit. If you had one piece of advice to give people when it comes to dealing with renewable energy, what would that be?
Start taking notice in the state of North Carolina. We've had a lot that has been done in recent years, and people still aren't fully aware of what's happening. In 2008 and 2009, North Carolina ranked number 10th in the country in terms of installed solar capacity. This wind project will be one of the largest on the East Coast. We're kind of at the beginning of a new trend that's happening in the state of North Carolina. So we're going to see more and more of this coming down the road for the state of North Carolina.
Paul Quinlan, Deputy Director of the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association, thank you so very much for stopping by and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.